Hello again, everybody. This is Mr. Everything, and I'm coming at you with a long overdue channel update. If you are new to my channel, you'll find this information interesting. If you're an old veteran to my channel, you'll probably already know half the information I'm about to put out. But I haven't put out a channel introduction in a while. This is not a channel introduction. I'm going to start, this is a new thing I think I'm going to do, is maybe monthly or every other month. I'm going to put out a monthly what is going on on the channel. Like what am I doing on YouTube? What videos am I making? What projects do I have upcoming? What projects have I completed? And things like that. That way you can stay abreast of what we are doing here at my channel. And sorry for the mess that you see. You don't even see half the mess that's over there on the other side of the table. But basically, I've been, over the last month or so, maybe 2 months, really focusing on terrain building. Okay, so I've been focusing a lot on terrain. I've built, what have I built? I built some roads, some fields, some rivers with bridges, some walls, some hedges, some fences, some buildings, some rubbled ruins. So basically I've been putting out a lot of terrain. I did some smoke. I've been thinking about doing some bunkers. I'm doing a burned out house pretty soon. And almost all of that was done in 20 millimeter. So I think I'm going to switch that out and start working on some 25s, mainly for more of a medieval or ancient, so I can use them either with my Ancients Miniatures games or even my role-playing D&D games. You know that I've been playing D&D every week. You also know that we've been playing a little bit of Bolt Action. I'm really starting to fall in love with Warlord Games. Warlord Games put out Bolt Action, but they also have this game out there called Hail Caesar, and I'm starting to really dig that game. I've read up on the game. I don't have any of the rules, and the figures I do have were, here, I even have it right here in front of me, they were 15 millimeter, and they were based for a game called Field of Glory, and I have almost every book for Field of Glory. But the problem with Field of Glory is you have to be a mathematician, statistician, to be able to play that game. Every unit's got a different number that does a different thing, and in the turns, there's so many different results for a simple attack. Like, I'll charge and I'll get either like a pushback or a disruption or a disordered or a what's the other word? There's another one. There's not suppression. See, I can't even remember. It's got so many rules. It's not that thick of a book when you take out all the pictures and you take out all the extra charts and stuff like that. It's really only a few pages long. But dang, I feel like I'm playing Advanced Squad Leader again, and I don't want to do that. I want as you know, I want to have my games going faster. Fast. We want to play. This is designed for a tournament play. Field of Glory was definitely designed for, you have a 1,000-point army, I have a 1,000-point army, we sit on the table, and we blow each other up, right? There's a whole frickin' chapter on how to deploy terrain on the battlefield. There's a whole nother chapter on where to put your troops on the table. Like, you can only put light cavalry on the flanks, and then in the mid-flank you can put light infantry or heavy cav, and then in the center you can only put medium and heavy infantry, and then it goes to the other side. And I'm like, really, dude? Come on. I understand that there's, setup limits and stuff, but that was specifically designed to make armies set up exactly the same way every time. I don't want to do that. right? So I'm getting rid of my Field of Glory game. I'm getting rid of my Field of Glory miniatures. They're already up on eBay. That comes to my next thing. eBay. I've got quite a bit of stuff on eBay. I've been selling some of my old miniatures, some of my old games, some of my newer games, you know, and it's newer miniatures. I've been selling a ton of stuff on eBay. Mainly, I look at the stuff. I've been collecting miniatures since the 70s. We'll call it 80s. 80s. We'll say 80s. 81. 80. No, 70s. Okay, 77. So I've been collecting miniatures since 1977. I've got some of these miniatures. I look at my shelves. I look at my trays of miniatures and terrain pieces and buildings and hills and trees. And I look at it and I'm like, I've got an addiction. I've got a problem. But guess what? I'm healed. I'm cured. I've decided I'm going to pick a few games that I'm going to play. World War II is definitely one of them. Revolutionary War, Napoleonics, and Ancient Warfare. That's my period. Those are my periods. Everything else that I've got, I'm selling. I sold all my modern micro armor. I've got some micro armor, World War II micro armor. I do want to play micro armor. I do like micro armor, but I never play micro armor. I'm selling it. 15 millimeters. Okay, I've got a ton of stuff in 15 millimeter. I mean, a ton, and it's been painted. I've been painting it for years and years and years and years. I'm selling it. I'm getting rid of all my 15s. Almost all of my 15s. Napoleonics, which is in those trays right there, I think I'm going to keep the Napoleonics in 15s. I used to play Napoleonics in 20s until I realized it took up too much space on the table. So that's why I went to 15s, and I can put Napoleon's battles on this ping pong table, no problem. Okay, so World War II. I have a ton of 20 millimeter stuff. That's why I'm making all this terrain for 20 millimeter. Man-to-man works okay with 20 millimeter. I kind of think 25s or 28s might be the way to go with that, though. I mean, I'm conflicted. So what I've done is I've ordered a bolt-action German Panzer Grenadier platoon. I'm going to build those on camera for you guys, and I'm going to paint them, and then I'm going to see if I want to. I'm conflicted. I don't know if I want to play with that scale or not. Because that means I got to get all kinds of new buildings. I got to make new buildings, which I'm okay with because I love building terrain. So I might be building terrain, but what's going to happen? What does that mean? That means I got to get all my 20 millimeter stuff and sell it. Because I'm not going to anymore. I've decided I'm not going to do this anymore. I'm not going to have multiple scales of figures for the same frickin' game. So if I'm playing bolt action, which I plan to play a lot of bolt action, everybody else in the world plays it in 28 millimeter. Everyone else plays it in 28 millimeter. Why am I the only one playing it in 20s? It's cheaper. It's like 1/3 the cost. I can get a tank for $7, you know, pre-painted, built, metal, $7. I can get infantry. I can get a box of 30 for $4, you know, and they look good because 20 millimeter compared to 28 is really not that big of a difference. But when they're heroic 28s, they're really not 28s. They're more like 30s. They're more like these extra big muscular dudes. So the advantages of that are I'm starting to get older and everybody else is already playing it in 28s. So if I went to a tournament or a convention or something like that and I brought my army and I wanted to show somebody how to play, or if I wanted to play in the tournament, I would have to have a 28 millimeter army. So, okay, Derek, what I could do is I could just get one army in 28 millimeters and shelf it, and then whenever I play at my gaming club, when I'm running the game, I can play in 20 millimeter because I can provide everybody with enough figures for days. Yeah, but if I'm going to do one scale or the other, I'm probably going to do one scale or the other. So I'm going to get these German grenadiers in. I'm going to build them. I'm going to paint them. I'm going to see if I like the way they look, the way they feel on the table, and then I'm going to decide if I'm going to switch to 28s. Mike's already got some 28s. There's a couple of guys at the game store that already have 28s. The problem with that is games turn into tournament style games, and I hate tournament style games. Okay, I hate games where I set up on my side, you set up on your side, and we clash. I don't like games like that. I want it to be scenario driven. If it's scenario driven, it doesn't matter what everybody else has got, because if I'm playing the Lafire Bridge, I need to bring all the figs for the Lafire Bridge, and I'm going to referee the game, and I'm going to have a bunch of players play it. If I go to a convention, I'm going to have a bunch of people play in my game that I'm running. So 20s will be just fine. So I don't know. That's part of this video is I don't know which way I'm going to go. So now having said that, I told you I'm falling in love with this game, right? I'm already in love with this game. So I've realized now that Rick Priestley, you know, he used to work for Games Workshop. He also has a bunch of other games. And I've read them. I've read these games. And I'm going to do a review on Hail Caesar as soon as I get it in. As soon as I get Hail Caesar in, it's one reason why I'm selling all this is because I'm converting all my ancients to the Hail Caesar rules. I don't have to sell my figures. I could leave them with 15 millimeters and just play with them just the way they are. But Hail Caesar is not really a 15 millimeter game. It's a 28 millimeter game. It's not I'm going to take my entire army of Pompeii in there and attack, you know, Hannibal or whatever. That's not what Hail Caesar is about. It's about the guys on the right are attacking the guys on the right. A lot like some Napoleonic games in the 28 millimeter are designed for division or corps action and not entire army actions. Like Napoleon's battles as armies, where some games are corps or even as low as divisions. So Hail Caesar is that kind of game, which is okay by me. I mean, I don't care if I have like 5 Roman cohorts, you know, going up against 6 or 7 war bands of Germanic tribesmen. That's cool. I'm okay with all that. That's kind of the way I envision most ancient battles anyway. Kind of like Revolutionary War. The Revolutionary War was, and I got those in 20s. I had a really good time playing 20s with those. I like the big figures. Luckily, I already have a bunch of terrain for D&D, like walls and fences and hedges and stuff like that. And that all can be used in ancient period. So I just don't have any like ancient buildings. I sold it thinking I was getting rid of all my 25 millimeter you know, figures, but I wasn't. I'm getting back into it. So my plan is, I know I'm rambling, but this is just a channel update. I want to let you guys know where I'm at, what's going on. I'm going to do this video maybe once a month. So I am going to get Hail Caesar. I'm going to get some figures for Hail Caesar. I'm going to see if it's cool or not. I mean, I've read the book. It seems like it's cool, but I got to actually play a game to know if it's cool. I've got some 28s coming in for bolt action. I'm going to put them together and see if those are cool. I'm selling all my extraneous figures and terrain, stuff that is for scales that I don't ever see myself playing. You know, I've got some naval figures. And I've got a game called Micronauts. It's a great game. The game is excellent, but I'm not a Navy person. Tom's a Navy person. He's got all the ships I would ever need. I don't ever need to bring my Navy with me. I'm going to be selling them. I'm going to keep the rules just because I play with Tom. I've even considered, I hate to say this, I've considered selling all my 15mm Napoleonics. I've probably got 3,000 Napoleonic figures. 99% of them are painted. I mean, I've got maybe 4 or 5 units that are not painted, but dang, Prussians, British, Brunswickers, Nassau, French. I don't think I got Portuguese. I have maybe 1 unit of Russians. Not a whole lot of Russians. I could sell those, and it would fuel my addiction to the other games. Back to Rick Priestley. He's got, I probably should do a whole video on just that, because that is something that's really exciting to me. He's got a game out there called Black Powder? Black Powder? It's not Pike and Shot. It's Black Powder. That's his Napoleonic rules. American Civil War, that kind of stuff. It's lines of men, muskets, bang, right? Bayonets, cavalry charges. But guess what? It's probably done, it's very similar to Hail Caesar from my understanding, is the fact that I haven't read any of those rules yet. But my understanding is you got to roll command and blah, blah, blah. We'll get into all that. It seems like it's really cool, and it seems like it's on a much smaller scale. I don't know. I've been loyal to Napoleon's battles for so long. So long. Okay, and then now let's talk about something that might amaze you. Now we're still talking about our Wargaming miniatures. You saw last year I was a fanatic for the Robotech miniatures game. I've got all the Robotech miniatures, I've got the rules, terrain, spent a lot of time building micro buildings and everything for this game. Did a little bit of role playing with it. It's a good game. But I don't see myself playing it. I'm more of a historical miniatures gamer. So I've actually considered selling it. I still haven't gotten my second wave. First wave came in a year late. And then the second wave was supposed to come in years ago. Maybe last year. Still haven't seen it. Supposed to have a resin SDF1 and all that. Haven't seen it. They keep putting it off, saying we can't find the right miniatures company or the right plastic mold or blah blah blah. Palladium, whatever. I lost my money. That's what I'm thinking. Okay, so then if it shows up one day, just boom, out of the blue, excellent. I'll put those together and pay them. But I've actually been thinking about selling that game. Because I don't see myself playing it. Role-playing games. You know I'm a role player. You know I'm a D&D player. I play Traveler. I play all different kinds of role-playing games. I'm going through my role-playing collection because I have a lot of role-playing games. And I'm selling them. I've already sold more than half of my Warhammer fantasy role-playing books. I still have half of them down there on eBay. And one of the editions of the Mongoose RuneQuest I'm selling. I am keeping the original Chaosium RuneQuest books and rule books and everything, but I'm selling the Mongoose one. I bought almost all the books. I didn't like that edition of the game. I'm selling it. So, to make a long story short, well, it's too late, right? It's probably been 30 minutes, but I'm selling all my miniatures that I don't see myself ever using. I'm selling my games that I don't see myself playing. Or if I have multiple games that cover the same period, I'm going to pick one and play it and collect miniatures for that. I might be upping my scale from 15s to 20s to 25s. I might be going to 25s with everything. It's a possibility. It's not that much more expensive. Because like an Old Glory Roman bag, you get 30 figures for 36 bucks. That's the same as the Hail Caesar figures. But I think I'm going to go with Hail Caesar because they're posable and they're multiple parts and they're plastic. So they're convertible. So, okay. So that's the general synopsis. Now, last thing. There's this game out there called Gates of Antares. Guess who makes it? Warlord Games, Rick Priestley. It's their new venture. It's their new game that they've put out. I want to like that game. I'm an old 40K player. I played Ultramarines. You know, I had a little bit of Eldar, you know, here and there, but mostly Ultramarines. I liked 40K. 40K was fun. I didn't have any problem with 40K, except for the cost. The cost of 40K models are crazy. I played Warhammer Fantasy for a long time. Almost sold all my Warhammer Fantasy. I think I'm down to like almost no figures of Warhammer Fantasy. I've sold almost every single one of them. I had an undead army. I had an extensive undead army. I had lots of skeletons. But then they went to Age of Sigmar. And that reminds me of Necromunda. It's just a skirmish game now. It's just I've taken a handful of knights against your handful of lizardmen and we slug it out. That's not for me. And I don't plan to invest in any of the new models or the new bases or anything like that just to play Age of Sigmar. Basically, I haven't played a 40K or fantasy game in probably 10 years. So that's why I was selling all those. But I'm still liking that genre, right? That whole like sci-fi fantasy thing. Gates of Antares. It's a Warlord Games. Rick Priestley is making it. I think the rules are okay, but I looked at some of the armies. They're a little confusing because I don't have the rule book, so I don't know, you know, the history and the backstory, and that's important to me. But they seem goofy, you know. So I'm gonna have to take a look at them and take a look and see if exactly like the I don't know. It has a very I don't know what kind of feeling I'm trying to express, but yeah, it seems kind of like a goofy game, so I'm gonna have to take a look at it and see it. At least it's not AT-43, you know, where you had like guerrillas with slingshots. Okay. Oh yeah. Okay. Final thing is, you notice a lot of things on my channel is computer gaming as well. We've got our Star Citizen. It's going strong. We've got War Thunder is going stronger than before. I used to have a Squadron. I closed it. And ever since I closed it, now everybody wants to play. You know, when we had our Squadron, people were like never showing up or they would never want to do any kind of training or anything like that. So I gave up on it. And I just closed down our War Thunder Squadron. But as soon as I closed the War Thunder Squadron, it's like now everybody's like, hey, where'd the Squadron go? And I'm like, where have you been? You know? And so we're playing a lot of War Thunder actually. And then, which is fine. I don't care. We don't even need a Squadron. We can just team up on Discord. That's another thing. Got rid of TeamSpeak. We're now on Discord. TeamSpeak was costing us like $7 a month or something. That's not a whole lot of money, but it is money. And Discord is 100% free. So we're on Discord. And that's going to go away as soon as Spectrum comes online. Because the unit is still a Star Citizen unit and not a War Thunder unit. Now, if we have a bunch of people playing War Thunder, that's fine. But it's still going to be our Star Citizen unit. last but not least, there is a game out there called XCOM 2. I'm playing the Long War 2, doing a playthrough of that. I play that almost every night for an hour or two, and just to kind of, yeah. So there's other games and stuff I'll play every now and then, throw that in there, but mostly it's just terrain building, miniature painting, those 3 computer games, and videos like this. So as soon as I get in just recently, this last month, I've done a chapter by chapter rules explanation of the bolt action rulebook. If you're interested in learning how to play bolt action, check out those chapter by chapters. They're almost verbatim from the rules. Pretty much I use the rules as my script, so you should check those out. And when I get Hail Caesar, I'm going to do the exact same thing, because I've noticed that there's nobody online, nowhere, not one place, where someone is explaining the rules for Hail Caesar. There's a bunch of people out there doing playthroughs, battle reports, or whatever you want to call them, but they don't explain what they're doing. They just roll on the dice, and you're seeing units get eliminated, and you don't know why. So I'm gonna, once I get those rules, and I am gonna get them, I'll do a walkthrough of that. And I think I'm gonna go Macedonian and Roman. Of course, you got to go Roman. Of course, you got to go Roman. But I think I'm gonna go Macedonian because I'm pretty fond of the whole, phalanx and all that. All right, and that's pretty much what's going on with the channel. I'll see you again probably next month.